Society has a script for your life. Pick one thing. Get good at it. Do it forever. That's the deal. From the moment you enter school, people start asking the same question: what do you want to be? Not what problems do you want to solve. Not what excites you. Not what kind of life you want. Just, what are you going to become? One answer. One identity. One lane. And if you keep changing interests? That makes people uncomfortable. If you love business and psychology and filmmaking and technology, people assume you're confused. Because society worships specialists, the person who spends 30 years doing one thing. The expert. The master. But here's the uncomfortable truth: the world that rewarded specialization is disappearing. And most people haven't noticed yet. Specialization was perfect for the industrial age. Factories needed workers who could repeat one task efficiently. Schools were built to train those workers. That's why education feels like an assembly line. Bell rings. Sit down. Memorize. Repeat. The system wasn't designed to maximize curiosity. It was designed to maximize predictability. And for decades, that worked. But we don't live in that world anymore. Today, industries change overnight. Technology evolves every few months. AI can automate highly specialized tasks faster than ever before. Which means if your entire identity is built around one skill, you become fragile. The best taxi driver in the world still loses to Uber. The best video store employee still loses to Netflix. The best elevator operator still loses to a button. That's the danger of becoming only one thing. You become incredibly efficient, inside a system that might disappear tomorrow. Meanwhile, the people thriving today are different. They adapt fast. They learn constantly. They connect ideas across multiple fields. In other words, they're generalists. And no, being a generalist doesn't mean being mediocre. Some of the greatest minds in history were obsessed with multiple disciplines. Leonardo da Vinci studied anatomy, engineering, art, architecture, and physics. Benjamin Franklin was a writer, scientist, inventor, diplomat, and entrepreneur. They succeeded because they understood something most people miss: innovation happens when different worlds collide. A programmer who understands psychology builds addictive apps. A filmmaker who understands philosophy tells deeper stories. A business owner who understands design builds unforgettable brands. The future belongs to people who can connect dots. Not people who memorize one dot forever. There's actually a neuroscience reason for this too. Your brain becomes more adaptable when you expose it to different kinds of thinking. Learning music affects pattern recognition. Writing improves clarity of thought. Coding strengthens logic. Art sharpens observation. Different skills cross-train your brain. That's why curiosity is powerful. Not because every hobby becomes a career, but because every skill changes the way you think. And maybe that's what people get wrong about success. Success isn't always about going deeper into one thing. Sometimes it's about building rare combinations. Because individually, your skills may be ordinary. But together, they become unique. There may be thousands of writers, thousands of designers, thousands of marketers, but there are very few people who combine all three in the exact way you do. That combination becomes your advantage. And yet people are terrified of this path because they fear being average. They hear, "Jack of all trades, master of none." But they forget the rest of the quote, "but oftentimes better than a master of one." That line survived for centuries for a reason. Because adaptability outlives expertise. The people who struggle most when the world changes are usually the people whose identity depends on one thing staying the same. But the people who reinvent themselves? They survive almost anything. So maybe you don't need to panic because your interests keep evolving. Maybe that's not weakness. Maybe that's intelligence responding to a changing world. Maybe you were never meant to fit into one category. Maybe your curiosity is the blueprint. So stop apologizing for having multiple passions. Stop shrinking yourself into one title just to make other people comfortable. You do not have to become one thing for the rest of your life. You can evolve. You can pivot. You can reinvent yourself repeatedly. Because in a world changing this fast, the safest thing you can become is adaptable. And adaptable people don't just survive the future. They shape it.